Hello and welcome back to another episode of Diablo to D&D. My name is David, and today we're going to be going over the creation of the Lightning Spear Amazon. So when I had created the Amazon, there were a handful of subclasses that I had originally created. There was, of course, the Elemental Amazon that used the Poison and Lightning Javelin skills. There was the Spearazon that just used the physical abilities that they had, and then I had thrown in the Boazon that used the elemental and physical bow and crossbow skill tree. However, I had over time split the elemental Javazon into two. I split it into the lightning and I split it into the poison. What I was left with after putting everything together is that there were 4 abilities that were left out. One of them is Pierce, which is just kind of an awkward ability to fit somewhere in the Amazon tree because some of the subclasses are melee, some of them are ranged, and Pierce is only for ranged. So it just didn't really fit. I suppose I could put it in a either the Boazon or one of the ranged, the Javazon, for example, but And then I was left with 3 of the lightning, melee lightning abilities: Power Strike, Charged Strike, and Lightning Strike. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with these, but ultimately I said, fine, I'm going to create the melee lightning build. So here we are at the Spear Lightning, or Lightning Spear Amazon. And it's, I think, pretty darn fun. Power Strike at level 2, you learn to call upon the power of Zeray, the goddess of vengeance and storms. When you make a melee weapon attack, you can make your weapon's damage lightning, and if you deal damage this way, that creature can't take reactions until the start of its next turn. The attack must use a melee weapon with the two-handed or versatile property that deals piercing damage. So Power Strike is literally just additional lightning damage, but at level 2, I didn't want to give you additional lightning damage because you're not supposed to be that powerful just yet. I had considered saying, your weapon's damage increases to 1d12, which kind of fits the Diablo theme of massive ranges. But, I mean, that's basically just a straight damage increase, and again, for level 2 seems a bit too much. So I took a look at, instead, Shocking Grasp. And Shocking Grasp kind of does what I wanted to do it, but doesn't really do what I want it to do. Some parts of it were good, like not being able to take reactions. This is kind of the quintessential lightning cantrip, especially for wizards. Somebody gets in melee, you slap them across the face, and then you back away because now they can't take reactions. Or it helps your friend, get away from them. You have your familiar fly in, you Shocking Grasp the person, and then your familiar flies away, and your friend leaves their threatened area. So I borrowed heavily from Shocking Grasp that can't take reactions until the start of its next turn. It just adds a little bit more lightning flavor without increasing the damage. I could also do something like Knockback, but, because it's lightning, the whole pushback from lightning, at least the trope. But I decided against it and just went with just what I have here. Now on to Charged Strike. Beginning at level 6, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack on your turn, you can also cast Charged Bolt as a part of dealing the damage without somatic components. The creature you hit must be included in the area of effect. The attack must use a melee weapon with the two-handed or versatile property that deals piercing damage. So this is something that I had considered pushing either to 6th or 10th level. I don't know. I could go either way, but I had decided ultimately for level 6 because this is kind of your extra attack. This is your damage bump at 5th or 6th level. Now, sharp-eyed people among you will catch that it says you can also cast Charged Bolt. Charged Bolt isn't a spell, it's a sorceress ability. Or is it? This is something that I had changed. You'll see it in the changelog next week, but Charged Bolt is no longer a sorceress ability. It is an actual spell. I had considered moving it to a spell for a while now because of Ice Bolt and Firebolt that give Ray of Frost and Firebolt, respectively. And it's much more easier to understand because it automatically scales instead of dealing with weird individual bolts of lightning, and don't worry about it. I had agonized over it for almost a year now about how I was supposed to word it. I had 3 different wordings. You assigned 1d4 for each point of your intelligence modifier or proficiency bonus to creatures, and then you roll the damage. It was a mess, and just turning it into a spell changed everything, and it makes it so much nicer now. This is the second spell that I have created next to Corpse Explosion. I don't think I'm going to be making too many of these, but I have a whole list on the create or change document if you want to take a look at it. But its basic effect is each creature in a 15-foot cone must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d4 lightning damage. Now, I took a look at the 3 area of effect cantrips, Sword Burst, Thunderclap, and Divine Radiance, I think they are. And yes, technically Acid Splash does work, but I'm going with area of effect on this case. The reason why Charged Bolt is 1d4 instead of those cantrips 1d6 is because those 3 affect the area immediately around you. That means you have to be in melee, and as a caster, you don't want to be in melee. So being able to hit somebody 15 feet away, even just 1d4, 1d, 2d4, or whatnot, is still pretty good. So that's why the damage is a little bit lower than the 1d6. I had considered pushing it up to 1d6 because it's not all that much of a change, but I'm going to keep it as a 1d4 for now. Now, the reason why it's at level 6 is pretty much just because I didn't know to push it to 10th level or to keep it at 6th level. It's in the place where it could go either way, and it will really depend on what I decide to create for that 10th level ability or for a 6th level ability. By and large, I'm fine with it being in either direction. I think it should be at level 6 because that is, like I said, that's where you get your extra attack, you get your extra damage dealing stuff. So, I mean, you'd get, if you're using a spear, it's a 1d6 plus 2d4 lightning damage. That's not bad. That's not bad. And it's 2d4, keep in mind, 2d4 in an area. So it's pretty decent. It also does mean that you have to be very careful about positioning, because if you have somebody in melee flanking, if you have somebody across from you, then they would be in the area of effect as well. And that's going to be a problem. So I'm going to leave it as is, but that's definitely something to think about. I mean, this is one of the things I like about D&D is that it offers you a power-up, but you have to be very careful about how you use that power-up. So do you get the advantage and flank them, or do you flank them and get the advantage, or do you kind of go off to the side so you don't hit them with your charged strike? I don't know. It's fun. Play around with it. Give me some feedback. Finally, at 14th level, we have Lightning Strike. Beginning at 14th level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack on your turn, you can also cast Chain Lightning as a part of dealing the damage without somatic or material components and initially targeting the creature you hit. The attack must use a melee weapon with a two-handed or versatile property that deals piercing damage. You can use this ability once per long rest. This is literally just the melee version of the Lightning Javelin, Lightning Fury. It's literally just the melee version of that. Because the Lightning Fury and Lightning Strike are just the same ability. I mean, not exactly, because I think Lightning Fury sends them out in straight lines, and Lightning Strike is actually chain lightning, but whatever. But they are very, very, very similar, and yeah, it works. I like it. I think it's a great idea. Putting it at 14 with only once per long rest means that it's going to be, very, very careful. You have to be very, very careful about it. This does mean that you can actually do Power Strike, Charge Strike, and Lightning Strike all on one attack. You can turn your weapon into lightning, and then deal charged bolt damage, and do chain lightning all in one hit. Immense Nova damage. But again, you're going to be burning out a lot of your resources. Now, Charge Strike is it's a cantrip. It gives you a cantrip, so there's no limit on to how many times you can do it. Kind of like how there's no limit on extra attack. And it does have to be on your turn, so, Now, the restriction on Power Strike, Charge Strike, and Lightning Strike, and for the melee, or for the physical spears for Jab and Fend, is that the attack has to use a melee weapon with the two-handed or versatile property that deals piercing damage. There are 5 weapons that fit that criteria. The Javelin sadly does not fall into this, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to fit it, but I want you to be able to use the Javelin, but I don't want you to use, a rapier, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so the 5 weapons are the spear, the trident, the lance, the pike, and for some inexplicable reason, the war pick. I don't know how to exclude the war pick without just writing out spear, trident, lance, and pike. I mean, I guess I could. I mean, I did it with the javelin subclasses. It says javelin, spear, or trident. It doesn't feel right. So, yeah, for now, I'm going to say that yes, you can unintentionally use it with a war pick, but just know that I am going to be very disappointed with you if you decide to do that. I think that just about wraps it up. You can contact me at XenosFan2, that is XENOZFAN2, on Blue Sky and Reddit. And you can contact the channel directly at Diablo TODND on Blue Sky and YouTube. Thank you much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good whatever.